Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a guide for round 4 of the Manufacturer Series exhibition season. Let's get this started. Brake just before the curb on the left starts. Try to bring yourself all the way to the curb on the inside so you don't come out of the turn having a risk of hitting the grass. Bring yourself to the left, just going at full throttle. Look for the right chevron sign on the left, as that's going to be your next braking point. You brake hard for a short moment, gradually ease off of the brakes. Take your time applying the throttle as this turn turns in a little more as the turn goes on. Bring yourself to the right, and it is possible to take this turn flat out, but in case you can't, just do a little bit of a lift so you don't end up hitting the grass. Bring yourself to the left, brake just before the curb on the left starts, so you'll be braking hard for a short moment. Ease off of the brakes, just let the car rotate around this turn, and then get on the throttle. Go ahead and bring yourself to the right side of the track. Look for the left chevron sign on the right, as that's your next braking point. And just like the last hairpin, just take your time easing off of the brakes and easing on the throttle. For this bank turn, you can do a lift off of a throttle. Just go for a late apex here so you don't end up risking hitting the grass, and you can get a fast exit. Now this is where it starts to get a little tricky. Brake just before you reach the apex of this left turn. You'll be braking hard for a short while here, and you're going to ease off of the brakes pretty late. You can get the car to coast just for a short moment, just let it rotate around this turn. Then when you go through this left turn, you can do a quick lift off of a throttle and then go back to full throttle. Now for this final downhill chicane, this is where it gets a little tricky. You're going to brake well before the curb on the left starts. You want to bring yourself all the way to the right side just after this right turn. So brake hard for a short while, bring yourself all the way to the right, then use a little more braking, quickly accelerate, and you should be good to go. But that is all for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and talk about the strategies. For a qualifying session, you're going to have 10 minutes to try to get a good qualifying time. Slipstream is going to be important here, especially for the straight that is just after this first turn right here, and the little uphill downhill section just before the start finish line. So here's the thing. The tire wear is going to be pretty high here, so you only want to do one qualifying lap before you do the jump out and jump back in method. This is where after you do your qualifying lap, you press options, exit, and in the lobbies you can press enter course, or during the race day itself you press the qualifying button. This will save you from having to do a in lap, so all you have to do is just do the out lap, and then you start your qualifying lap once again. This will be crucial here as each lap takes around 2 minutes to complete, so you're not going to have that many chances to try to get a good qualifying time. And about the slipstream, so the other thing is that the front wheel drives will be pretty dominant here. So we're talking the Megane, the Volkswagen Scirocco, the Audi TT Cup, and the Peugeot RZZ. They're going to be pretty dominant here, so you want to try to get the slipstream off of one of those 4 cars. They're going to have insane acceleration, so you just want to try to stick behind them as much as you can so you can go a little bit faster and improve your qualifying times. For the race strategy itself, it's mostly going to depend on the kind of car that you are using. If you're using a car that has heavy tire like a front wheel drive vehicle, then you're going with a 3-stop. If your car has good to decent tire wear like a front engine rear wheel drive car or a mid engine rear wheel drive car, then you're most likely going to want to go with a 2-stop. Don't forget that racing medium tires are required for this race, so make sure you equip them on for at least 1 lap so you can get that tire requirement out of the way. The tire rate is a little bit on the higher side here, especially for this sort of combination. So you're going to start to feel the tire wear kick in around lap 5 for those cars with decent tire wear. If you're in a front wheel drive car, you'll feel that tire wear kick in a little bit sooner. So for those doing the 2-stop, you can do 3 6-stop stints. So 2 of them will be on the racing soft tire, and then the third 6-stop stint will be on the racing medium tires. Or you can do a variation of that. For example, doing 7-lap stints on the racing soft tires, which will leave you with a 4-lap stint on the racing medium tires. If you're able to take good care of your tires and adjust the brake balance so you can even out the tire wear as much as you can, then it's going to be easier to pull off the 774 strategy. If you want to be a little bit on the safer side, then you can just go with the 666 strategy. I do want to note that when I was doing the 666 strategy, I had the brake balance on +2 for the Viper, but on the 774 strategy, I moved the brake balance to +4, so 4 points to the back, so I can try to even out the tire wear a little bit more and just try to make the front tires last a little bit longer. Because in the case of the Viper, the front tires get more of the tire wear than the rear tires. In terms of feel, it is going to be an issue, but it's not going to be as bad as you may think. So in the case of the Viper, I'm shifting just before the bar on the bottom of the screen fills up. Sometimes I let it rev out just a little bit, especially out of these turns. But other than that, you don't want to mega feel safe. You don't want to short shift so much, as that will cost you some pace. So it's just about trying to find that sweet spot where you can do just a little bit of fuel saving while at the same time trying to maintain a decent pace. So in a moment, you're going to see me pit in for new tires and to refuel a little bit. And if you do it right, then this will mean that you'll just have to do a very short splash and dash. So get the tires changed, refuel, didn't even last that long, and I'm out. So you can almost go all out, but you just want to try to fuel save just a little bit, just enough so you can just go in for a splash and dash. There is a bit of an exception to this with the short shifting, and it has to do with one of these turns that is coming up, so just after this hairpin right here. And this is mostly because it's possible to take it flat out if you short shift and you turn in at the right time. So it's going to be this turn right here. If you do it just right, you can shift up a bit early and be able to take this turn flat out. In this case, I don't, because I noticed that I was starting to understeer a bit, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to say here. But anyways, if you're able to stay under someone's slipstream for a long period of time, there is going to be a chance where you will not have to refuel at all. So just keep that in mind if you're constantly under someone's slipstream, and when you go to the pit stop, you'll know if you have to refuel or not. And if you have to do a splash and dash, that is not the end of the world. So that's the case with the fuel, and I just want to quickly compare the 2 and the 3 stop with non-front wheel drive cars, so cars like the Viper. So both the 2 and the 3 stop, so the 774 and the 6651, they got the similar times, and that is going to be a bit of an issue for the 3 stop. And that is simply because if you pit out into traffic, or you're going through one of your laps and traffic is pitting out and you end up right behind them, they're going to hold you up, and that's going to put you at a disadvantage. And the longer that you get held up, then that means that the 2 stoppers will be able to catch up to you when you do your 3rd and final pit stop. You pretty much want to leave the 3 stop to those with heavy tire wear, like the front wheel drives. Speaking of which, these cars are going to be extremely dominant here. So I gave the Audi TT Cup a very quick whirl around here, and yeah, they're just going to be stupid fast. Their acceleration is on a whole other level, and they're just going to leave everyone behind. And with the 3 stop for the front wheel drives, you actually want to do 5-lap stints on the racing soft tires. So you're going to do 3 5-lap stints on the racing soft tire, which will leave a 1 3-lap stint on the racing medium tires. And the fuel situation should be similar to that of the other cars that I mentioned earlier. You might have to go in for a splash and dash, but if you're under someone's slipstream all the time, or if your car is just that fuel efficient, you may not even need to have to refuel at all. So at the end of the day, if you're in a car that has heavy tire wear, go with a 3 stop. If your car is decent to good with its tires, then go with a 2-stop. Fuel will be an issue, but if you do just a little bit of fuel saving by shifting just before the bar fills up for most cars, then you'll end up having to do a short splash and dash. If you're under slow and slipstream for a majority of the race, you may not have to refuel at all. And of course, your tire order is going to depend on where you're starting. So if you're starting in top 10, then start on the racing soft tires. Or if you're starting on the bottom 10, then you can start on the racing medium tires. But that is pretty much it from me. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So this is Mr. MCA, wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.